A new year of women's basketball has arrived for North Alabama. Welcome into our women's basketball preview show presented by your Southeast Ford dealers. I'm Benjamin Ray alongside Matt Daniels. We're going to break down what the women's basketball team will look like this season. We're going to hear from UNA head coach Missy Tiber, a couple of players as well. Matt, Coach Tiber back for her 8th season, and she graduated 5 great players that meant a lot to the program last year, but she's still very excited for this year's team.
Yeah, this year's team is going to put a lot of points on the scoreboard. They can fill it up. They got a lot of shooters led by Olivia Noah coming back, who has a chance to be Conference Player of the Year in the ASUN, and we're excited to see her. You got Jayla Roberts stepping into the point guard role. She is a dynamite. She is fun to watch, full of energy. UNA fans are really going to love seeing Jayla Roberts on the floor this year.
You throw in Jada Bond as well, and 3 players that quietly contributed a lot last season.
They were always there. They're hard workers. They're competitors. They put themselves in the right place. They're not scared to shoot the ball. They're not scared to put it on the floor, do what they have to do. Their offensive firepower is what they are. They're hard to guard. You put a post player on Olivia Noah where it just opens up the floor for Jada and Jayla to just go free, penetrate and move and drive and kick. And that's where Missy Tiber shines as a coach, just putting these players in the right spots, the X's and O's, and really puts the Lions in a place to win. We're
going to break down the roster. We're going to tell you what's coming back, what's new. We're going to talk about the ASUN and what can we expect. But when we come back, we'll hear from UNA head coach Missy Tiber, and we'll get her opening thoughts on where the program is at as we head into year 3 of the ASUN.
We've been helping families make joy for over 100 years. In America, we're not about to take this year off. So at the Ford Built for the Holiday sales event, get 0% APR financing for 60 months, 90 days payment deferment, and $2,000 trade assist cash on select Ford SUVs and Fusion. That's on top of what your eligible trade is worth. So get the family together, take the scenic route, and make some joy this season. Ford, Built for the Holidays.
We're inside of Flowers Hall with UNA head basketball coach Missy Tiber. And Coach Tiber, we're going to talk all about your team that you have coming up this season. But first, I want to back up to March when we were in here last. A packed Flowers Hall. It's been so long since we've played basketball. Take us back to that night.
A memorable night. Probably would have only been better if we won the game. But it was a packed house. I had many people tell me after that game just how exciting it was, and other people feel like they missed the boat and they didn't come, but people told me they hadn't seen crowds like that in over 20 years. So for a basketball game here inside Flowers Hall, so it was just great community support from the UNA family to the Shoals community. It was awesome.
Your 8th season at North Alabama now, 3rd year of this Division I transition, 6 newcomers on this team, for 4 returnees. As you gear up for this season, Coach, what excites you most to coach this team?
I really love this team, and mostly because they just truly have a love and care for each other. They are really a selfless group. They celebrate each other daily. And I think that's something in this generation that sometimes you have to do a lot of work on. This team's not much work with that. They really like each other. The team chemistry is excellent. And I'm just really happy and excited to coach them every day.
As we start previewing this team, I want to start with your coaching staff. Adrian Harlow, Josh Ashley, Allison Seaberger, everybody's back. How big is it for the 2nd straight year keeping this staff together?
Adrian's been with me. This is my 20th season as a head coach. She's been alongside me every year. Josh is now in his 4th year. Allison in her 2nd year. When you can have, 3/4 of your staff, the continuity, and then we also had Kenesha Colson as a GA that played for us and understands the system completely. It's a big deal, and especially when you have a youthful team. I'm not having to worry about teaching new assistant coaches the way things need to be done in order for them to teach the team. We've got it pretty much figured out, and we're a good group working together. My weakness areas, they have a lot of strengths in those areas, and I think that's important. Each member of our staff does something extremely well, and I think that's what makes us a good unit together.
4 returnees, 6 newcomers. What's it been like? You didn't get these guys like you would early in the summer. What's it been like seeing this group come together?
I am extremely thankful that we did get them for some time in the summer, almost 4 weeks, maybe a little over 3.5, but that is an advantage that lots of teams did not have. And with us being so youthful, if it was a year ago, we might have not have been stressed so much if we didn't have summer. But if we would not have had summer this year, it would have been a big deal for our program because we're so young. But these kids, they picked up a lot in that 3.5, 4 weeks. And it's been a true blessing for us because now every day I'm watching young kids get better, and they are feeling themselves get better. Then they're realizing how much better they truly can get. And that's the exciting part about coaching a young team.
You did lose 5 seniors from last year's team, Coach, but now this year, even though they're gone, I've had some conversations with some players. Jayla Roberts mentioned, hey, I backed up Ivy Wallen, and she really had a big impact on me. What kind of presence is that group still having on this year's team?
You know, you'll never replace that core. I mean, the all-time winningest senior class in the history of our program. They left a legacy, an important one. And the words that Jayla mentioned, I think that's why Jayla is having such a good preseason right now. Jayla is not an ego kid. She is turned into be a tremendous leader because she learned from excellent class, Ivy, and all the rest of the seniors. They laid the groundwork for what this program is all about. And now the kids on the returning kids, they have a duty. They have a duty to maintain the level of success and the way we do things, and to protect the culture of our program. And they've done a really good job of that.
Family is another word that comes up when you talk with members of your team, especially with 6 newcomers. They say, I chose this program because of the family feel. Hearing that coming from your players, how does that make you feel?
You know, that's all we strive to be in a true sense of the word, is family. You know, I've always believed that every kid in our program comes from a different type of family background. And I once heard PJ Fleck, the coach at Minnesota, said, family, forget about me, I love you. And that's what we try to be. A family for each other, day in and day out, just giving it our best and just truly caring about each other. And when you do that, basketball and winning takes care of itself.
Best tailgate, brisket.
No, real football y pollo asado.
Hoops and wings. Dude, subs.
Hot dog.
Chili dog.
No, Dodger dog.
It's gotta be crawfish.
Now you're talking. Burgers.
7-layer dip. Ribs. No contest.
Hummus.
What?
You need a hot grill.
And an ice cold Coke.
Of course.
Football and Coke. Come on.
It's got to be Coke.
Game day.
Race day.
Calls for Coke.
You know it.
Grab yourself a Coke.
It's tailgating 101.
Welcome back to our women's basketball preview show presented by your Southeast Ford dealers. Matt, we just heard Coach Tiber's opening comments, and what stood out to me the most, and you talk with players, coaches, the word family.
Yeah, this team is really close. They're a tight-knit group. They love each other. If you come by when they're practicing, it's loud, it's energetic. You can hear laughter. You can hear challenging words from coaches, players to each other. And that's what family does, right? They laugh together. They push each other. They're there through the ups, the downs. And this women's basketball team really does a good job of portraying what a family looks like.
Let's talk about the roster and who you'll see inside of Flowers Hall this season. Olivia Noah, ASUN Newcomer of the Year a season ago. Jada Bond, my opinion, should have been on the All-ASUN freshman team. Jayla Roberts, Savannah Holt as well. These 4 returnees, how big of a step are they ready to take this season?
Yeah, they're ready because now the minutes are there to be had, right? So now we're going to see them a lot. We're going to see them 25-plus minutes a game. They're experienced. They know this offense. They know the defensive schemes. They're smart players, and I'm excited to see them. I agree with you. Jada Bond should have got a lot more accolades last year, and maybe she uses that this year to kind of continue to prove herself that, no, she's not under the shadow of her sister down in North Florida. She is here, and it's Jada Bond's time, and Jayla Roberts kind of has that same chip on her shoulder as the point guard of this team.
Let's talk about the newcomers coming in. 6 total, 5 freshmen. And first off with the freshmen, you look at where they're from. Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee really hitting the hotbeds for women's basketball.
Yeah, no question. Girls high school basketball in these areas are really good. These young ladies are coming in from talented programs, from challenging programs, and they're winners. They have competed at the high level against other great talent, so they're ready to step in even to Division I college basketball because they've already experienced it at the highest level they can experience. And so they understand the adversity, what it takes to push through those challenges and compete against other people who may be the same talent level as you, but now let me outthink you, let me outwork you.
Hina Suzuki comes in from Japan, but sticking with the 5 freshmen that make up 6 of the newcomers, they all either won state championships or played in state championship games in high school. When you're building a program, how valuable is that?
Well, it's valuable because you can't teach those winning things. Those things are learned by experience. And so when those young ladies are already bringing that experience in, now all Coach Tiber has to do is continue to do what she does well and put these student athletes in places to succeed, right? And so now you don't have to teach a winning culture. You don't have to teach winning habits. You don't have to teach a winning attitude. They're bringing that with them. So now you just teach them your way, your culture. They become Lions, and then that's how this women's program has built such success over the last few years.
Coming up next, we'll talk about this roster with head coach Missy Tiber. We've got interviews with Olivia Noah and Jada Bond coming up as well. I want to talk about some of the players returning, starting with Olivia Noah. ASUN Newcomer of the Year a season ago, averaged just over 9 points per game, excellent three-point shooter, recognized this year as a preseason All-ASUN selection. Olivia, what's your expectation for her this year?
Huge expectations for Olivia. You know, I think here, just that last game against Liberty and actually the second half of conference play, I really, truly felt like she was one of the better players in our league. And, you know, it took her a little while to figure out our system and her role. But, you know, she didn't play starter minutes. I mean, she didn't start, but she played starter minutes. And, you know, we're going to rely upon her heavily, and she's worked extremely hard to add dimensions to her game. She's worked on her physicality. She's continuing every day to try to become a better defender. But boy, can that girl shoot the lights out of the ball. There's not too many players that I've coached in my career to see the ball come off the hand the way it does for Olivia. And I'm just excited for her because she's such a great kid, and I know she's going to have a big year for us.
We can't wait to see her skip down the floor again after knocking down several threes. A couple other players, some rising sophomores. Jada Bond, I think she was snubbed for all-freshman team a season ago, just over 8 points per game. Jayla Roberts, we've touched on her just a little bit, but freshman to sophomore year, sometimes people talk about a sophomore slump. How do those two avoid that?
Well, I can tell you what, neither one of them are avoiding it at this point. They both have elevated their games. Jada is just, she's one of our most consistent players, personality-wise, on and off the court. Everything that she does, you just can rely upon her. She's just a great kid from a great family, and she's also a really good basketball player, and she just keeps getting better. You know, she's going to have a tremendous career here. You know, this year, it's going to be full of lots of adversity and trying times, but, you know, when you look back on it, you're going to say this year was beneficial for a lot of our players' growth. You know, they weren't starters. You know, we don't have a returning starter back, so everything is new for them. But her mentality is that she's a starter right now, and so that's good. And Jayla has come so far. You know, things that we would have to prod Jayla on every day, on and off the court. Man, I'm so happy for that kid. She's such a joy to be around, and she has just figured it out. And she's working really hard. She's in excellent shape, much better shape than she was a year ago. And she leads this team day in and day out. And I don't know, we shared a video of her mic'd up in practice a while back, and that's how Jayla is every day. She's just a joy to be around, and her teammates love her too.
Certainly not lacking for personality. Let's talk about the newcomers, 5 freshmen. And as I poured through their bios, getting to know them, one thing stood out. They all come from championship high school programs. I think 3 of them won state championships, 2 of them played in state championship games. How beneficial is it having these players coming from championship pedigrees?
It was something that we targeted. That's exactly what we wanted to do. First of all, you know, we recruit great kids. Secondly, we want to make sure that we're recruiting a kid whose skill set fit our system. And finally, we want to make sure we're recruiting winners, that they already have been coached hard, they know what it takes to win. And it's exciting when you look down there and you have a bunch of state championship type players. And so they know what it takes, and we're excited just to continue to work in their development so they can showcase, you know, that experience in winning the big game.
Hina Suzuki, a player I think UNA fans are going to learn to love, coming to us from Japan. Coach, take us through this. How did you land her?
You know, it was one of those just on a whim. Someone sent us some video of her. Hey, take a look at this kid. So we watched that film. We requested more film. We're like, this girl can play the point guard in our system. You know, the way we play, she was so fun to watch. And she was playing at I would say it was a much higher level the high school championship game than maybe some of the levels that we're used to seeing on a daily, just a normal high school game. So we're like, this is pretty high level, so we think she can do it. So we kind of went on out on a whim, and we took her, and she's just been a pleasant surprise to our program.
It's bow time.
Dad, we're hungry.
Yep, to the grill. No.
Out of gas on game day? Drop a big bow box on it. Game on. Feed a family of 4 with 8 pieces of scratch-made chicken, biscuits, fixins, and tea.
It's bow time.
Jada Bond joins us next, a sophomore from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. As a true freshman, she played in all 30 games for North Alabama while averaging 8.6 points per game. And Jada, let's back up to your initial campaign at UNA. Looking back at your freshman season, what are some things that you can reflect back on?
I really enjoyed being able to play with that class and the leadership that they have, and just to be able to pick up on that and the competition in this conference, and then now I can bring it, and it helps me to be able to lead the younger ones.
So let's talk about maybe some of your favorite moments from your first season. For me, what jumps out at one of your big games, 19 points in the ASUN tournament against Liberty. You had the game-tying layup as well. Any other moments for you or that one as well?
I mean, I like that one as well. It was a very exciting game. The crowd was packed and the energy level was very high.
Take us back to the game-tying layup. What do you remember about that play?
I just remember I was just trying to play, just tried not to think about it too hard, and I just read what the defense gave me.
How did it feel to have your number called in that big situation?
At first it was a little nerve-wracking. I was surprised, honestly, being a freshman, but then I knew that I needed to step up in that moment and do something for the team.
Great finish to last season for you, 19 points. Now heading into your sophomore campaign, what did you work on this offseason?
I worked on finishing strong, and then, of course, I'm shooting guard, so continuing my shooting.
Olivia Noah was named to the ASUN preseason all-conference team. You guys were both newcomers a season ago. What's it like to see her get some preseason recognition?
I'm very proud of her. She's a great player, so honestly, it doesn't really surprise me that she got that.
You guys have a lot of fresh faces out there at practice. What have you seen out of them so far?
They are working very hard. I've seen a lot of improvement from the day that we got here versus now. You can tell they're working very hard. And
last thing for you, Jada. Season opens up November 25th. What are your expectations for the team this season?
I expect us to come out and surprise some people, you know. People are probably like doubting because we're so young and basically a new team, but I think we're going to be able to come out and do something great.
Jada, we can't wait to watch you this year. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
We've been helping families make joy for over 100 years. In America, we're not about to take this year off. So at the Ford Built for the Holiday sales event, get 0% APR financing for 60 months, 90 days payment deferment, and $2,000 trade assist cash on select Ford SUVs and Fusion. That's on top of what your eligible trade is worth. So get the family together, take the scenic route, and make some joy this season. Ford, built for the holidays.
From Cypress, Texas, we're catching up with the reigning ASUN Newcomer of the Year, women's basketball player Olivia Noah in this Line Vision update presented by CB&S Bank. Olivia's season ago, 9.1 points per game while picking up the ASUN honor. Let's start with, what have the last couple of months been like as you've navigated these crazy times getting set for this upcoming season?
Yeah, it's definitely been unlike anything we've ever had before. I know all of us really had to get creative in the off season, staying in shape and just trying to stay focused for this upcoming season. But we're really excited now that we've been here. We were able to get here towards the end of the summer and get some practices in, which I think have been really beneficial.
a senior on the team this year. Last season was your first A-Sun Newcomer of the Year. As you look back at year one for you at North Alabama, what stands out the most?
I mean, just being able to come into such a good program, I think, was really beneficial and just kind of teach me what it takes to win and play at a really high level. All 5 of the seniors that we had were phenomenal leaders and just great girls in general to look up to.
You hit a lot of big threes throughout the season, some good celebrations, skipping down the court. What were maybe some of your favorite shots or moments from the season?
Definitely that Liberty game. That last game ended up being the last game of our season. Just a lot of emotion, huge crowd, and just it was just like such a great feeling.
All right, so 6 newcomers, fresh faces on this year's team. What have you seen from them in practice so far?
They've really stepped up from the summer to now. We're really excited. I know people say, oh, like a lot of new people and stuff, but it'll be nice. No scouting reports or anything on them, so it'll definitely be some fresh faces and skill sets to throw in the mix.
Season opens up November 25th. What excites you most about the upcoming year?
Just to get going. I'm really excited. Our team is really close. There's only 10 of us, but I think that's made us even tighter, and I'm just really excited to see what's in store for us this year.
Olivia, thank you for the time.
All right, thank you.
Best tailgate, brisket.
No, real football y pollo asado.
Hoops and wings.
Dude, subs.
Hot dog.
Chili dog. No, Dodger dog.
It's gotta be crawfish.
Now you're talking. Burgers.
7-layer dip. Ribs. No contest.
Hummus.
What?
You need a hot grill.
And ice cold Coke.
Of course.
Football and Coke. Come on.
It's got to be Coke.
Game day.
Race day.
Calls for Coke.
You know it.
Grab yourself a Coke.
It's tailgate 101.
There's Coach Tiber's thoughts on what this team is going to look like heading into this upcoming season. And Matt, style of play with this team. You talk with Coach Tiber, she's saying that they're shooting higher marks in practice than the teams from the last couple of years have.
Yeah, this team is going to shoot the ball. They're going to shoot it quickly. They're going to continue to play fast as we've gotten to know, but this team can really fill up the scoreboard. They're sharing the basketball. They're all good shooters. At most times on the floor, there's going to be 5 shooters on the floor. When you talk about that, with all those snipers, it's going to be really hard for these other teams in the A-Sun to figure out how to guard. And if North Alabama can continue to play with their pace, they're going to continue to be matchup nightmares throughout the A-Sun.
Let's talk about the A-Sun Conference. North Alabama was picked 4th in the media poll, 6th in the coaches poll. Florida Gulf Coast picked as the favorites throughout the conference. And really, Florida Gulf Coast has sort of dominated the league. It's up to somebody in the conference to try to dethrone them.
Yeah, Florida Gulf Coast is the standard in women's basketball in the A-Sun. They have been for a while now. Their program, it's like a machine. Players go out, players come in. It's the same level of excellence. So until somebody dethrones them, it's going to continue to feel that way. North Florida feels like the favorite to kind of sneak up in there. They got everybody back. Coach very well by that staff down there. They're going to be a really tough team to beat, and I think they believe they can win the A-Sun this year.
You look a little deeper. Florida Gulf Coast, like North Alabama, they graduated a senior class that had a lot of accolades. Liberty lost some key pieces, but they've got a couple of role players like North Alabama coming back. You mentioned at North Florida, Jada Bond down there, Denisha Banks at Stetson. She'll have them ready to roll. Some great coaches as well. There's still a lot of talent coming back.
Yeah, there is. We didn't talk about Liberty and Stetson there in the opening, but they're going to be really good. They've got some experience. Their experienced pieces have been playing for multiple years, so they're ready. They understand what it takes to win in the A-Sun. And so, yes, it feels like Florida Gulf Coast is out in front of everybody, but this A-Sun is winnable with these right teams, these right pieces. You catch the right breaks during whatever this year's going to be with COVID, and all of a sudden, A-Sun women's basketball is going to be really exciting in February, March.
As Coach Tiber gets this young team ready for conference play to begin in January, the non-conference schedule is extremely tough and challenging. How is that going to prepare this team for conference play?
Well, it's kind of like when you put your team in a tough situation, when they get to the A-Sun, they've already experienced it. they're ready. They know how to handle that adversity because, oh, we've been here before. Or maybe we've lifted a little heavier weight than when we get to the ASUN. Playing some of these bigger, better teams like North Alabama's doing is just going to be a teachable moment. It's going to be experience. Experience is the best teacher. So when you talk about these newcomers, when you talk about the Jada Bond, the Jayla Roberts, they're going to be playing more minutes than they've ever had. These tough competitions are going to allow them to learn on the fly so that when it comes to championship season in January and February, North Alabama is ready to take their step.
Around the corner after this break, we'll get Coach Tiber's thoughts on the ASUN, the schedule, and what's awaiting her team this season.
It's bow time.
Dad, we're hungry.
Yep, to the grill. No.
Out of gas on game day? Drop a big bow box on it. Game on. Feed a family of 4 with 8 pieces of scratch-made chicken, biscuits, fixins, and tea.
It's bow time.
I want to talk about the ASUN Conference. You guys were picked 4th and 6th place, respectively, in the 2 polls, coaches poll and media poll. This league, top to bottom, what sort of league do you see it being this season?
You know, it's really hard to tell. You know, you have Liberty that, you know, I shared the title, the conference tournament championship with FGCU, and FGCU, you know, loses so much, but they always rebuild. Liberty lost a couple players, but they got a couple good players in. North Florida, I feel like, will be up there, and they have Jada Bond, preseason player of the year. And but I wouldn't leave us out. I feel like our kids understand what it takes to win. I get to coach this group every day. They've learned how to play hard and play at a high level, and boy, can we shoot the basketball. Our biggest challenge is going to be stop teams from putting the ball in the basket, but I really like the mix of teams in our league, and I think it's going to be a competitive season. And to be honest, I feel like it's going to be wide open.
Let's talk about the schedule, an extremely tough schedule. I'm going to run down some of this. Austin Peay, Missouri, Purdue, West Virginia, Sanford, Murray State, tournament in Vegas, Tarleton State, they're transitioning as well, Gonzaga, Chattanooga to wrap up non-conference play. Coach, how's this schedule going to prepare this young team for ASUN play?
A year ago, we went to Iowa and Iowa State, and we were extremely competitive. And yes, it was with a more mature basketball team, but at the same time, if we don't go and play those games, I don't think we are prepared to win at FGCU. And I'm hoping that these challenging games for us this year, including number 21 preseason Gonzaga, will well prepare this team for the conference slate. And that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to get better every day. And I scrapped the non-D1 teams as we had to make some adjustments in our schedule. And I said, if we're going to play this year, you know, let's just make it competitive. You know, these kids are going to get another year back. Let's go out there and let's challenge them and early in their careers, and let's make them better.
Last thing, Coach, November 25th, you guys will open up inside of Flowers Hall. Fans that get to come, it's going to be limited capacity, but what sort of team are they going to see out there on the floor?
You know, I hinted at you, we can really shoot the ball. And I've said many times, and I'm not afraid to say this, is that I've never coached a team that can shoot the ball as well as we can 1 through 10 on our team right now. And that is a lot of fun. You know, we break about every record shooting in practices daily, so that's exciting. So you're going to see a team that does that. But you're going to see a lot of similarities. The style of play is not changing. You're going to see an up-tempo team. You're going to see a bunch of girls that play real hard, and they're going to enjoy playing the game, and people are going to love watching them.
Coach Tiber, we can't wait. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
There it is, parting shots from head basketball coach Missy Tiber. Benjamin Ray, Matt Daniels welcoming you back to wrap up this women's basketball preview show presented by your Southeast Ford dealers. Matt, a lot of fresh faces, some exciting pieces returning. Why should UNA fans be excited to watch this team in Flowers Hall?
It's going to continue to be the UNA women's basketball program we've fallen in love with under Missy Tiber. They're going to compete. They're going to play fast. They're going to put a lot of points on the board. You got the energetic leader in Jayla Roberts, who's going to always be talking and cheering and moving moving and sharing the basketball. And then you got Olivia Noah, Jada Bond, who we've mentioned, that are going to play the game the right way. These young ladies represent all that North Alabama is and that we want it to be. And so it's just going to continue to be what we know about women's basketball.
For full schedule information, game times, ticket information as well, be sure to visit RoarLions.com. Thanks for tuning in to our women's basketball preview show presented by your Southeast Ford dealers.